west of our area, which is concerning. Only one county west of our area. We do have severe weather in our area. We also have flash flood warnings in our area. It has become a busy afternoon. Let me first get you caught up on where we have the flash flood warnings. Du Bois, Orange, and Crawford County under flash flood warnings. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch through 8 p.m. This includes areas along a line from Louisville through around Jasper and then south through around Grayson County, which would be Litchfield. And you can see the couple of warnings that we have in effect for our area. Du Bois and Crawford County under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Let me show you what we've got on Storm View HD. First, we'll look outside. Our skies are cloudy. Our temperature, it's surged to 77 degrees. Now, winds are out of the southwest at 14, and when you have a southwesterly wind, what it traditionally means is the atmosphere is not going to impart a lot of rotation potential. When I say a lot, it doesn't mean you can't get a brief spin up. I mean, we know in the spring this can happen a lot, but it just means that the primary threat would not be tornadoes. We've got rain, thunderstorms, and some of this rain's coming down extremely heavy from Borden. Rain right now crossing along the Gene Snyder, Fairdale through around Newburgh. This is where we've got our severe thunderstorm warning. Crawford and Du Bois County, you're under severe thunderstorm warning until 4:25 Eastern time. Putting a track on that puts it in Ferdinand in a minute from now, puts it in Birdseye 7 minutes, English 24 minutes, Middletown 38 minutes. The main threat on this storm is going to be hail up to the size of quarters and wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. There is some subtle rotation within this storm, but it doesn't concern me at this point. And then there's an area with a tornado warning. This is Spencer and Warwick County, which is just west of our area. However, if this holds together, it would be in Santa Claus shortly. We'd have to watch Leopold and Alton down the line for that particular storm. Rotation on that storm, again, looks somewhat diffuse, but it is showing some signals that it is a rotating thunderstorm, hence the reason the National Weather Service put that tornado warning on it. The line of thunderstorms continues to move off towards the east-southeast. Louisville's going to see some rain. I think the greatest risk of severe would be really in that watch box. It's a well-placed one from Louisville as you go southward through E-Town, through Litchfield. Hail would be the primary threat. I would say up to quarter-size hail, then wind gusts to 60 miles an hour, but cannot rule out those isolated spin-ups. We're going to watch it very closely. For a timeline on Louisville, we've got the storms in the southern part of our area. I think our thunderstorm chances will continue here for the next 3 hours or so, and then start to wind down as we go into the middle of the evening. The watch remains in effect through 8 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warnings for Crawford and Du Bois County. I'll continue to watch that tornado warned storm just west of our area and have a full update on it in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Mark.
3.2 inches just to the northwest of New Albany, not in New Albany, but south of Salem here and north of Cordon, 2.8 inches, and then just on the northern side of Louisville through around Prospect, 1.1 inch of rain. Now, this is on top of what we saw last week, which was ridiculous amounts of rainfall. The combination of these two, obviously, it's going to cause some problems, and you can see from Clark, Floyd, Crawford, Orange, and Du Bois County, we've got flash flood warnings. We also have the severe thunderstorm issues. Severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect, blue here through 8 p.m. Now, counties in the severe thunderstorm warnings will be Crawford and Du Bois, Perry, parts of Meade County, and then Breckenridge County. And this actually is producing winds potentially up to 70 miles an hour, which is destructive winds. We've got to watch that line of storms very carefully. And this is the area where we have this severe to our west. I'll go through each one of those individually. We do have thunderstorms in Louisville. None of this is severe, but there is a very, very heavy area of rain with a lot of lightning from Fredericksburg through Borden through Charlestown. This is going to produce excessive rain and likely flooding on roadways. Small hail on the table for these storms. Then we run into our severe storms. Crawford and Du Bois County, severe thunderstorm warning through 4:25. Hail to the size of, let's say, a little bit over a quarter size. I don't think we're talking as large as golf ball, but we've got to watch for winds to 60 and maybe 70 miles an hour. 20 minutes from now, it'll be in English, 28 in the Sulphur area. The storm that did have the tornado warning, it doesn't look as intense as it did, but still severe thunderstorm warnings for Crawford, Meade, and Perry County. This is the area of rotation just to the southwest of Leopold. Again, not looking at it as intense, but I'm watching it closely. I think winds to 60, maybe even 70 miles an hour possible. Hancock, Perry County through 3:25, you remain under a severe thunderstorm warning. So this is in oil in 19 minutes, and Stephensport 24 minutes from now. Everything continues its movement towards the east-southeast. So it is headed towards Louisville. 77, southwest wind at 13 miles an hour, and with it being warm, there's no question this will support some strong thunderstorms. Northern part of our area cooler, and that's why that severe thunderstorm watch is generally along and south of the river, because temperatures are warmer. Dew points are fairly high right now. All of this supports that potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. Advanced track continues to show these storms moving across the area at 7 o'clock. It actually shows a little bit of a bow here, which might intensify some of the wind. We'll have to watch that one, but it shows that around 8 o'clock, moving through E-Town around 9 or 10, and then we'll wind this thing down as we go through the overnight hours. You know, I got to tell you, the problem is with this pattern going forward is it really repeats itself, and we've got a number of days with the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. 63 degrees tonight. Storms will continue likely early at 70%. For Louisville, if we were to catch strong to severe, I think it would be within around, let's say, an hour and a half to 2 hours. 81 degrees tomorrow, scattered storms. Can't rule out some strong to severe. And then Thursday night into Friday, Mike, we'll get a pretty powerful cold front in here. That one has the potential for severe weather. We've got a lot to watch in the next couple of days.
All right, thank you, Mark. As you're heading out this afternoon.
Kelsey Hughes sent this out of Palmyra, and you can see literally just covering the roadways with, you know, water. We've seen this many, many times here over the last couple of days and week. We've seen Du Bois, Orange, Crawford, Floyd, and Clark County, the northern part of Harrison and southern part of Washington County, all go into flash flood warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Du Bois, Crawford, Perry, and Harrison County. And I just asked the Weather Service about Crawford County because I'm a little bit concerned about some rotation there and some rotation coming into, let's say, mainly I would say it's in Crawford County, the area I'm concerned about. It's south of English, and it would be a small area of rotation, and I'll show you a little bit more. What we've got in the metro right now is just some thunderstorms. North of the river, let me just tell you, these aren't just thunderstorms. This is pouring rain from Charlestown through Borden. This is the storm I'm a little bit concerned about. Crawford, Du Bois, and Perry County, winds to 70 miles an hour, severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. And with so much lightning on there, I'm going to turn it off for you so you can actually see the part of the storm that I'm a little bit concerned about. It would be right here near the Doolittle Mills area, just north of West Fork. This area is showing some signal of rotation on it. It is not intense rotation, but in my opinion enough that I do want to watch it very closely. In oil right now, Marengo 19 minutes from now, Dixie in around 30 minutes. And then we've got another area with a severe thunderstorm warning, Crawford, Meade, and Perry County. The southern part of this line that goes through Tobin and Patesville that's moving towards Irvington was severe, not anymore. Puts it in Hardinsburg 19 minutes from now, Brandenburg 36 minutes from now, seeing some rotation south of Alton, some rotation southeast of English, and those are the areas that I will watch. I did ask the National Weather Service their thoughts. They haven't responded yet. As we look outside in Louisville, what we've got here is generally just a cloudy sky that's occurring right now. Our temperature coming in at 77 degrees. Winds are southwest at 13 miles per hour. Storm View HD, let me show you specifically some of those storms of interest. I mentioned the time frame, that Crawford, Du Bois through 4:45. Turning off the lightning again so you can see the most dangerous part of that storm. Puts it in English in 10 minutes from now, and Marengo in 19 minutes. The area of rotation that I'm watching specifically is near Doolittle Mills here, so near Switzer Crossing. We've got to watch you closely. If that storm rotates a little bit more, we'll see what the Weather Service chooses. There they go. I expected them to issue one. They just issued a tornado warning. Just a note to the producers, I'm going to stay with this for a while. Tornado warning now has been issued for Crawford, Harrison, and Perry County. This is until 4:55. So the National Weather Service on that area that I was just talking about, that I was concerned about, have now issued a tornado warning here. So we're going to spend some time going through these storms with the risk of tornadoes. Tornado warning now in effect for Crawford, Perry, Harrison. You can see severe thunderstorm for Crawford, Perry, Meade, southern part of Harrison County. And you can see if you kind of draw that down the line, yeah, that is ultimately heading in the direction of Louisville. So the area of rotation that I'm watching the closest, and I identified this about 7 minutes ago to that, it concerned me a little bit, is sitting right now right over the West Fork area. It is moving towards Carefree and towards the Pilot Knob area. If you live in Carefree, you need to take your tornado safety precautions immediately. This thing could produce a small, weaker style tornado, but as you know, it doesn't take much. The tornado, if it was to occur, could be a quick spin up and do some damage. So West Fork, if you live in Carefree, take your tornado safety precautions immediately. And I'm going to take you over to what we refer to as Storm View 3D. And this is what we call the analyst. We use this because it gives us the ability to look a little bit more closely at storms. I want to show you the specific area that we're watching the closest. I'll show you towns here, Carefree. Specifically, this is coming right down 64 right now. So the area of rotation is coming along 64. It is moving through Crawford County. Carefree is an area where we need to use caution as we continue to go down the line. Georgetown's another area that we would have to watch if the storm holds together that long. This is a tornado warning, and I want to look at the normalized rotation here from Storm View 3D. And yeah, it is now starting to show exactly what I kind of have been indicating here, that we're seeing rotation. Now, traditionally, so you know, when we start to see green on this map here, traditionally what that means is a tornado is starting to form. And I use the term green means go for tornado on Storm View 3D. So when we start to see a scenario like this, we do traditionally get a spin up occurring. This is right along 64, which really concerns me. If you're driving 64 west out of Louisville, this is obviously something you got to be careful of. If you have friends out there that you know are on 64, the area of rotation is just off to the west of Carefree. Now, remember I said green means go traditionally for tornado. Now notice the rotation here on Storm View 3D has backed down a little bit towards the...
Oh, would you like...
And just a touch. Let's go over and look then at the velocity data. The velocity shows us where the rotation is occurring. What's all the green and red stuff here? Well, let me explain it. What the green means is that the wind is blowing towards the radar. What the red means is that the wind is blowing away from the radar. So in that sense, then, we have this area of rotation that's just off to the west of Carefree. It's off to the west of Carefree, and I'm going to put a marker so I can get the exact distance here. Just to the west by 6.5 miles of Carefree, Indiana. Looking a little bit wider, another tornado warning has now been issued on the southern end of the line, so now we have 2 official tornado warnings out for our area. Just again, a note to the producer here. We're going to have to stay with this for a while with officially 2 tornado warnings out for the area now. So the 2 warnings are severe tornado warning for Harrison, Crawford, Perry County till 4:55 Eastern. The southern one is also a tornado warning, and this does include Brandenburg. That rotation right now has really increased near the Mooleyville area. So this one's for southern Harrison County and Meade County. Both of these go through 4:55. Weather Service, they're continuing with their wording, saying this is radar indicated. Radar indicated means that they are not specifically seeing a touchdown at this point or hearing reference of a touchdown, but what they're getting is from the radar. We're seeing enough rotation within the storm to concern us enough. So the areas that you have to watch out for would be Leavenworth right now through around the Carefree area. Corydon, it's still a while off from you. You're talking about close to around 4:53 in the Corydon area. Leavenworth, you're talking around 4:45. Here's that second area of rotation that's moving towards New Amsterdam. You have about 7 minutes. So New Amsterdam, it's time to get things inside into a tornado-safe portion of your house. What does that mean? Well, if you have a basement, you want to go there. If you don't have a basement, it doesn't mean that you're not safe. What you want to do is go into an interior room. So go into the center part of the house. If you've got a closet in the middle of the house, I'll explain why that works. Having those extra walls on the outside of the house protect you. And then having the walls and the closet being close together can protect you from the top of the structures collapsing. That's why these small closets in the interior of the house are the safest. Also, if you can get into a bathtub, that's a place that you would want to go. New Amsterdam, take your tornado safety precautions immediately. I want you in your tornado safe spot right now in Leavenworth. Corydon, I want you thinking right now, you've got about 6 or 7 minutes, but I would make sure that you have your plan in place. If you really want to watch right now on the weather, stay with me. I'm going to continue to stay on the storm. I really don't want you going outside to look at these. I know a lot of people hear tornado warning and immediately run outside. We'll continue to watch it for you so you don't have to step outside. But New Amsterdam, right over your area right now. These are the areas with the tornado warnings. I'm sure people in Louisville are feeling like, okay, there's tornado warnings just west of the city. What's coming in my direction? Let me show you the actual wide perspective, and we'll talk about the entire line. This is a lightning fest within these storms. You can see a ton of lightning occurring at this moment right now, and this is all heading off to the east. So I'll give you an animation here so you can see what this looks like over the last hour or so. We've got thunderstorms moving east towards Louisville. we've got the most intense storms right now that are basically riding, in a sense, what is an outflow boundary from those storms earlier. So what happened is those storms from earlier in the day dropped a boundary, which acts as a miniature cold front. Now, those storms on the northern part of that are riding that boundary. Since they're riding that boundary, it actually imparts just a little bit more rotation. It is on a line to take it into Louisville. Does that mean Louisville is going to see a tornado warning? It does not necessarily mean that, but it means that we've got to watch that closely, because if the storms hold together long enough, again, obviously they would get into Louisville. We're going to go back over to Storm View 3D here for a moment. I use this as my, I would say, inspection tool when I'm trying specifically to find the locations that I have the most concern for rotation. So Carefree, that tornado, if it's occurring right now, is only about 3 miles away from you. It looks like it's going to travel south of Carefree and go right over the Leavenworth area. If you live between Leavenworth and Carefree, you need to take your tornado safety precautions immediately. Roads that I'm seeing the rotation on are Beechwood Road, where that junctions with State Road 62. So State Road 62 junction with Beechwood Road. I am concerned about that location. Second area of rotation here is just off to the east of Concordia, and this one is heading towards Battletown. So that would put this area of rotation about 4 miles off to the west of the Battletown area right now. If you live in Battletown, you got to take your tornado safety precautions. Now we'll look in here, and let me change the colors to make it a little bit easier to see. What we're looking for is where the greens and the reds are coming together. Notice that's not as defined near Carefree right now. So we're seeing that rotation coming down just a touch near Carefree. I'm glad to see that. We go to the southern part of that, and near the Battletown area, notice specifically that's where those greens and those reds are coming together. So from a rotation, green towards the radar, red away from the radar. This means in Battletown, an area of rotation is going to come directly over your head. These are the two areas that are the most intense. We'll go over and look at these rotation values from Storm View 3D, and keeping in mind, I said earlier, traditionally when you see green, it does produce a tornado here. When Storm View 3D shows that, you can see still below that criteria right now, but we've obviously got to watch this real closely as this continues to move across our area. From the Weather Service here, their update, and they're expiring the severe thunderstorm warning for Meade, Crawford, and Perry County. They have canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Du Bois and Perry County. They're going to continue with a severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford County. So this keeps our warnings in Crawford, puts the tornado warning in Crawford, Perry, Harrison County, and it's really North and South Harrison County because there's two different storms, and then Meade County remains under a tornado warning right now. So we're watching this one as it continues to move across our area. Louisville, I know there's going to be some uneasy moments right now because we have those thunderstorms just west of the city moving in our direction. And just from an analysis as a radar meteorologist, what I will tell you is that boundary does set itself up along the river here. So as these storms, what you notice if you look at the lightning is the lightning is specifically clustered right around that river area. And the reason is there's this miniature outflow boundary, which, as I mentioned, kind of is acting as a cold front. And that extra little cold front there is imparting a little bit more rotation on the northern side of the line. And you really can see that very, very specifically when you look just to the south of Louisville. You could see that Brandenburg part of the line and south, almost no lightning is developed, where the northern side of that line, there's a ton of lightning here. That's saying that the storms are definitely a little bit stronger on the northern part of the line, and that's why we're watching that area a little bit more closely. Rotation's moving over New Amsterdam right now. Carefree, the area of rotation has weakened just a touch, but enough that I think we're going to continue to watch it closely here. And looking, what I'm going to do quickly, and I'll send you over to Storm View 3D so you can see what I do as a meteorologist when I try to analyze here. On the right, what I'm looking for is holes. And I'll show you the area near New Amsterdam. What I'm looking for specifically is in the area rotation, if I see a hole in that pink area, what that would tell me is that there's debris being lofted. So I'll be specific here. This is the area near New Amsterdam I'm watching. Now let me point on the other side where I'm watching. What you see on the pink side, there are no holes. So this means the radar is not seeing any debris lofted. Let's also look at the second area of rotation that's near the Carefree area, so right here, and then I'm going to show you on the other side the exact same location. Here's the rotation. Am I seeing any holes in the pink? Not really. So this is a good sign. It means we're not indicating a tornado debris signature. Not. And if there is a tornado on the ground, it will loft debris in what's referred to in a scientific term called the tornado debris signature. So we are not seeing that right now. That's a positive sign. That's a sign that the storms are not lofting debris right now. I always look for this very, very closely when I'm doing radar analysis. Let's go back through here what we have currently in effect for our area. The tornado warnings are metro warnings here. They bank up to our counties and bank up basically to Louisville. You know, our policy, generally speaking, is to cover tornado warnings continuously if we feel that there's a threat to life and property, and I feel like at this point we need to continue to stay with this. We've got the tornado warning in effect for another 9 minutes. Since we've got those warnings that will basically bank up to the metro, I think, and it's also getting close to 5 o'clock where a lot of people are out on the road. What I would ask from you is just give us a little bit of patience here as we just stay with the storms, because there's a lot of people that are going to be heading home, and I just don't want to see a situation where we put people's life at risk when we don't need that. So we're going west of I-64. The area where you would really want to be the most concerned right now is Carefree. 64 and Carefree, you can see with that new radar update right now, it is now on top of Carefree. The area of rotation, I got to say, the storm does not look as good. It's filling in somewhat. You notice you don't see any real distinct hook on this storm. This near Moberly is not a debris ball. Again, I want to emphasize that, not a debris ball, meaning it's not showing signs of lifting anything in the air. That word is not, so I want to be clear on that. Then the second area that we're watching, the tornado warning for this northern Crawford, Harrison, and Perry County is still 455. And then that second area where we've got the tornado warning would be the southern part of Harrison County and Meade County. So this one is virtually closing in now on State Road 228, and that's going to junction with Indiana, or go over Indiana 135 near the Dogwood area. This one also has the potential to produce winds to 70 miles an hour. So that is one of the threats that we're seeing. The second threat that we're seeing is the potential, obviously, for a tornado. I think even from a straight line wind standpoint, I'm looking actually at a Battletown right now, and I'm seeing winds of around 64 knots, which would mean somewhere in the neighborhood of around 70 miles an hour. While the rotation is not looking intense or anything that's a great concern, I think winds to 70 miles an hour are a real legitimate possibility on this storm. So Battletown, Mockport through Laconia, think about that. Think about wind potential to 70 miles an hour for your area. That really can do a lot of damage. Now, I do monitor my Twitter page constantly for what it's worth. I'm Mark Weinberg WX on Twitter. So Mark with a C, Mark Weinberg WX on Twitter. And if you could, follow me on Twitter and then just let me know what you're seeing in your area. I'd be looking for reports safely from Dogwood, because we've got rotation over your area. And let me just say that again, safely. Don't go outside your house and try to take a picture of the storm. First off, I'm not going to use that on the air, because if you're taking a risk with yourself, we're not going to do that. But if you can safely look at the storm, let us know what you're seeing if you live on Crandall, if you live in Corydon, safely looking to the north and west. And then secondly, that area rotation near New Amsterdam. I'd say Dogwood, let me know what you're seeing in Elizabeth if you could see to your west. Also, I do tend to respond to and talk with my Twitter followers during severe weather cut-ins, so that you can be able to, kind of keep it as a dialogue, a two-way conversation. Let's go back, and I want to go through generally the whole line here and take a look at the storms, address what this means for Louisville. We've got excessive rainfall, and I don't want to minimize this threat. Flooding is a real legitimate concern from Charlestown. Prospect near Goshen saw about 1.49 inches of rain earlier. Now, that really excessive area of rain is going through LaGrange, Charlestown, through Silver Creek. And this is dropping rainfall rates here. Actually, I'll go ahead and show you rather than telling you. Let me just show you some of the rainfall rates out of the storm, and I'll put numbers on there so you can get an idea of how hard this is coming down. Near Charlestown, rain rates 3.5 inches per hour. It's nearing 4 inches per hour in the northern part of Oldham County. In Greenville, we've got a rainfall rate of 4.05 inches per hour. Think about that. It rains for 30 minutes, and you've got 2 inches of rain. So this is of danger in a flash flood type of situation. Now, the secondary concern is the severe. I want to show you the southern part of the line. I don't want to forget about you in Hardinsburg. You've got rain falling right now. I know you're probably worried. We've got just a tornado warning just off to my north. Is this something I need to be concerned about if I live in Hardinsburg? What I do want to tell you is I don't think you're looking at a tornado potential. What we really have been seeing here is that area along the river that's riding that outflow boundary, that miniature cold front, as the area that is rotating the most. So the southern part of this line, which would be Hardinsburg, I think you're talking gusty winds. I think you could see 50-mile-an-hour winds. Normally when we don't see a lot of lightning, it means the updraft on the storm is not really penetrating deep into the atmosphere. Important, because that would minimize the hail threat. So for you, this little bow that's occurring near Hardinsburg, 50-mile-an-hour winds, that will continue to move off towards the east and southeast. So E-Town, we've got to watch that part of the line for you. And then we go back off to the north, where we've kind of focused in heavily on the tornado warn part of the storm that remains in effect for about another 5 minutes from the National Weather Service. 5 more minutes on that tornado warning, and we're going to see what decisions that they are going to make here. As they stand right now, on their 449 and 450 update, Weather Service continues to say a tornado is radar indicated. The interesting part is they're going with pretty small hail of only 3/4 of an inch, so that's a good thing. And then the second tornado warning, which is the southern part of that line, also they're going with radar indicated tornado warning here. So they're not at this point indicating that they have any signals for sure of a tornado. That's a good thing. That kind of goes well with what we're seeing. And then from a rotation standpoint, it's still... Let me take you over to 3D again so I can show you here and kind of give you an assessment with me. One of the things I like to do during severe weather coverage is give you my radar analysis. If you're not familiar with my background, what I did before I got into TV is I worked with the mobile Doppler radar team. You may have seen them, the Doppler on wheels. We had a radar on the back of the truck. We drove around, and what we did is we researched severe weather. My graduate thesis work was on a huge tornado in Spencer, South Dakota in '98. So radar analysis is my expertise, what I've done for virtually my whole entire adult life. But what you see here near Carefree is that the rotation, remember I said earlier, I look for when this goes to green. And I use the term green means go. It is definitely not there. The rotation is subsided somewhat near Carefree. Near New Amsterdam, the rotation's not near as good. In fact, it's actually looking like it's showing some cyclonic and anticyclonic. What that means is that the thunderstorm seems to be struggling a little bit with the rotation within it. Important. Doesn't mean that the winds have come down, but it does mean to me that the imminent tornado threat would be minimized on this. I think about, I'd say about 14 minutes ago, that tornado threat absolutely looked a little bit higher on the storms. I'm glad to say that it looks a little bit lower as we stand right now. I'm back over to Storm View HD, where we'll take a little time tracking so I can give you some idea so you can prepare for the storms. They're moving off to the east at 50, so they have accelerated a little bit. And I'm going to take this track out into Louisville so we can go through timelines specifically for a lot of different areas so you know what to expect in the metro here. Corydon, I want you to be thinking 4 minutes from now. I got a tornado that could potentially be moving in my direction. Yeah, Mark said that the rotation's a little bit less, but do you want to take that risk with yourself or your family? I don't want you to. Get into the tornado-safe part of your house. It means the middle part of the house. If you've got a closet in the middle of the house, if you have a bathtub in the middle of the house, what that does for you, let's just say there was a tornado that's throwing debris. That debris would hit the outside of your house. The outside walls would take the damage, not you. And then if it got through the outside walls, then it could hit the closet walls that you're in the interior part of your house. Another wall that can protect you. So putting those multiple walls between you and a possible tornado make you safe. I saw it many times in Henryville in 12 where those interior closets, even with a very, very large monster like that, were very safe. So 4 minutes from now in Corydon, while we're not under a tornado warning in PRP, this storm will be in PRP in 19 minutes. And I think best case scenario is 55 to 60 miles an hour. Worst case scenario would be a tornado warning here. Then 31 minutes right now, J-Town, or Jeffersonville rather, and then 39 minutes from now in J-Town. So along the 65 corridor, while we're not under a tornado warning right now, I'm telling you, you have 30 minutes to act and prepare yourself. I spoke with U of L a little bit earlier. They were considering an outdoor practice. What I know is they brought the practice inside, so we're not looking at a risk or a concern there. 1 more minute or so until this tornado warning is allowed to expire. I want to let Elizabeth and Gil know that if the tornado warning is allowed to expire, we're going to go back to news. And Jessica, our producer, I want to let you know that as well. I'll let you know as quickly as I do. And what we'll do is if they drop this warning, we'll go to a break and then have a recap here. As we stand right now, we've got a tornado warning in effect for just another minute or so. A couple counties that remain under those tornado warnings. And okay, it looks like they did allow those to expire. I want to make sure that that's what the Weather Service is going to do and keep them expired. What we're going to do here quickly is we're going to take a break. We'll come back. I'll make sure that the Weather Service is indeed going to allow these warnings to stay expired, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
That's why at Newcomer, our price is always hundreds, even thousands of dollars less than other area funeral homes. Funerals and cremations can be expensive, but not at Newcomer.
Well, unfortunately, we've got more severe weather in our area here. Rick DeLuca and I have been watching this through the afternoon here. Stay in with this for a while here, so we're going to probably need about 20 or so minutes of your time just to watch this tornado warning. Remember, these people are your neighbors. We just want to protect them if a tornado was to occur. First, we'll take a look outside in downtown Louisville. We've got storms moving towards the metro right now. What I will tell you as things stand right now is downtown Louisville, it doesn't look like we're going to catch a deep core on the storm. As we stand, there are parts of Louisville in a severe thunderstorm warning. Northern Louisville, southern Louisville. We've got Oldham, North Jefferson, Clark County under a severe thunderstorm warning. We have Floyd, Harrison County under a severe thunderstorm warning. We have Meade, Hardin, Bullitt County under a severe thunderstorm warning, and then we have eastern Henry County under a tornado warning. Here's how things look right now as we go across our area, and Rick's going to ride the radar here as I go over to the wall and take a look at some of the storms. Rick, what I first want to do is take a little track through the storms. Let's start ourselves off with the tornado-warned storm here. So the individual storm that's tornado warned is this one that's heading towards Monterey. For what it's worth, I'm going to stay with the warning until it leaves our counties. Once it leaves our counties, we will send you back over to programming. So as quickly as I can get you back, is as quickly as I'm going to get you back. I have no desire to sit here and talk. I can be honest with you. Got allergies, so you may hear me cough a couple of times. But the most dangerous part of the storm, Rick, let's go in pretty close on this storm. And by the way, it is until 5:35 Eastern Standard Time. Let's go into the area of rotation here right within this hook and go as close as we can, Rick, to get some streets here so we can actually track that down a little bit closer here. The area right now where the rotation is over Slabtown through around the Fallis area here. Gratz, the rotation is going to come right over your area. So I want you to take your tornado safety precautions in Slabtown. And you can see what Rick's doing is scoping inside the storm. Where the green is and the red is where we're seeing rotation within that thunderstorm here. So it's going to go just north of Slabtown right now and then head towards Gratz. This is Henry County. It will continue its movement along 22. So if you live along 22 in Slabtown or Gratz, take your tornado safety precautions immediately. What I want you to do is get downstairs. I want you to get underneath something if you can, table, you know, anything that you can get under to protect yourself. The center part of the house is the most important thing. And what you're going to basically do is put as many walls between you and the tornado, if one was to occur, as possible. Remember, this is not a confirmed, this is not a report tornado, this is radar indicated. Times it will be in the Teresita area in 14 minutes from now, Breck 27 minutes, and then Canby 41. So it will continue to trek its way out of our area here. I think this cut-in's probably going to have to last about 15 minutes or so. Rick, now let's go over towards Louisville. I know there's a lot of people heading home right now that are very concerned about what's going to be going on here in the metro. We do have that storm near Georgetown. You know, from an intensity standpoint, it doesn't look that strong to me right now. I think maybe 40 or 50 mile-an-hour winds. We've got this severe thunderstorm for Floyd and for Harrison County. This also squeezes just the northern part of Jefferson County here. So Clark, Jefferson, Oldham County under a severe thunderstorm warning. This one heading off to the east. So what I want you to do is be cautious. If you're driving along 71, basically the LaGrange exit, the Crestwood exit is when you would run into the potential 60 mile-an-hour winds and small hail. Most of this right now, I think we'll be talking about hail maybe to the size of nickels or peas. Most of the reports I'm getting on this are pea-size hail. Remember, I'd love to hear your reports if you can do it safely. If you're going to do something we think is foolish and you're going to be standing underneath the storm and send a picture to us, we're not showing it on the air. We just want you to know we're taking a stand against that kind of stuff. But if you can safely let us know what's going on, I'm on Twitter. Mark Weinberg WX. It's Mark with a C, Weinberg WX on Twitter. Head over, follow me on Twitter, or Mark Weinberg on Facebook. Follow me when you get there, and then give me your reports. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for Bullitt, Hardin, and also for the southern part of Jefferson County. And this is virtually for a line. This is probably producing wind gusts in the neighborhood of 60 mile-an-hour winds. If it looked like a bow and arrow, I would say we'd be more concerned about destructive winds, but this is more damaging winds. And what you should see out ahead of this is a cloud that looks like it's lower than the rest. Now, once that cloud goes by, you'll look up and it'll look super turbulent. This is called a shelf cloud. A shelf cloud indicates that we've got gusty winds moving across, and it's the nose of those gusty winds. Mount Washington, I need you to kind of stay away from windows in 17 minutes, Route 31 minutes from now, and then Bardstown 43 minutes from now. Rick, you kind of drove in about 10 minutes ago through some of this stuff. I know this is kind of a hot spot for driving right now as we're in the peak travel time this evening here. How are things out on the roads?
They're pretty bad. I mean, just blinding amounts of rainfall coming at you. And of course, when you have that sort of rainfall, when you have the lightning, those are the two obvious things, and two obvious threats that we always watch out for. But we have an ongoing tornado warning. We really want to get you up to date with that because that is the most important thing on the map. So ongoing tornado warning continues for Henry County. And just to give you the latest times here, until 5:35, if you live inside that red box, you should be in a safe place, whether it's on the lowest floor of your building. The basement is by far the best place to be. Put as many walls as you can between you and outside. Definitely watch this one cell in Henry County as it tracks its way off to the east. Slabtown right now, you're at the top of the list. You should definitely be doing your tornado safety precaution at the moment. Don't wait another second. The storm tracking off to the east around 30 miles an hour. It does have gusty winds over 60 miles an hour and also some quarter-size hail. So aside from the fact that we have the rain, the lightning, we also have the potential for a weak tornado ongoing. These are the locations that, just to give you a heads up, you should be basically keeping in mind that we could have a little weak tornado possibly ongoing. This is radar indicated, no confirmation just yet, but Pleasant Home in about 16 to 20 minutes, then Owentown in about 25 to 30 minutes. This storm will be in your area. Mark, we've been looking at the storms today, and they fired up very, very quickly here. There's a lot of juice in the atmosphere. You can feel it. You step outside and you feel the humidity. We haven't felt that basically at all so far this year.
I think what's the interesting thing about this, Rick, is that we had a boundary that, in a sense, was left over from the earlier thunderstorms. And if I was to kind of give you an assessment of what occurred here, the reason that we've increased the rotation, basically, is the rain left out this miniature outflow boundary. So what happened then is, as the storms approach this boundary, they get a little kick and a little potential increase for rotation. And I think that really is what happened here. Many times I talk about it, that these boundaries can be the focus, because I will tell you that the rotation potential within the atmosphere is nothing that's impressive at all. I mean, it really isn't. It doesn't mean you can't get tornadoes, because again, along that boundary is where we've seen things starting to spin up here a little bit, but it normally precludes us from getting anything that would be the major kind of severe weather, which I hope ultimately is what happens here, is these are tornado warnings that won't verify into anything that's that bad. Prospect, I need you to be prepared here for winds coming across your area around 60 miles an hour. Dempleytown and Crestwood, this is right over your area right now. LaGrange, a strong thunderstorm. And we have the tornado warned storm, the only one right now that has a tornado warning. That rotation, I'm going to go back over and show you the rotation here north of Slabtown. It really is not looking as good as it did. What I'm going to say is, if it continues to show this weakening trend that it has over the last two scans, what I will do is I will send you back over to programming. But let me show you something here real quickly, and I'm going to take you over to StormView 3D. What appears to be occurring here, if you look on the southern end of that storm, is it's coming out a little bit quicker. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. This would be the core of the storm right now over the Gratz area. What I'm noticing here is that area where the rotation is rapidly getting shoved to the east. Notice that kind of shows the appearance of a bow. This, to me, indicates that the storm is going outflow dominated, and that may be what's referred to as a rear flank downdraft. Now, that would mean the wind threat for Monterey would be up right now, 60-mile-an-hour winds, but it would also mean, traditionally, in this kind of scenario, that the tornado threat may be continuing to go down. So I'm going to go back over and look at the greens and the reds where they're next to each other, and the answer is they are not next to each other. In fact, there are no greens and reds next to each other. Let's look at radar normalized rotation here. And Rick, a lot of times we always say green means go for tornadoes. That really is showing the sign in Henry County that that storm may have reached its peak intensity already.
Right, and I think the National Weather Service is probably thinking the same thing by putting that severe thunderstorm warning further off to the east, as opposed to renewing another tornado warning, or at least extending it. We do see more of a wind threat becoming more likely here at the moment. So we're going to keep an eye on the severe thunderstorm as it tracks its way well off to the east at 35 miles an hour, racing with quarter-size hail, gusty winds, torrential downpours, and just a whole lot of lightning. I mean, it's an electric display out there. Yeah. Stay indoors. Please please don't try to go out and look at some of these storms. Better idea is to have a safe place. And looking outside right now, it is dark. I mean, it just looks pretty scary outside right now. It's breezy, it's warm, it's humid. We haven't really felt this so far this year, so the ingredients are there to get severe weather churning up in our area, and that's exactly what's happening today. We have one ongoing tornado warning, which is in Henry County. We also have that severe thunderstorm, actually several severe thunderstorm warnings surrounding the area.
Right.
Southern Jefferson County, Bullitt County, Hardin County. And look at this live drive we have. We got a lot of rain coming down, really tough. If you're out on the road, this is prime time for all the people on the commute. Just look at that. I mean, you do not want to be caught out in that. I know that commute, it can be a rough one. Well, today, just pack extra patience. It's going to be one of those days. We do have a lot of strong storms across the area. These ones will definitely slow you down. If you're intimidated by a lot of this, just a good idea to wait it out and wait until these storms pass. It does look like the bulk of the worst weather now coming through the metro area. Oldham County still under severe thunderstorm warning. Henry County also under severe thunderstorm warning. And we're also watching that ongoing tornado warning, the potential for a weak tornado, but it does look like it's showing signs of breaking apart, sort of ripping up. And I'm thinking that warning should be canceled shortly.
I agree. And what we're going to do is stay just a couple seconds longer just to make sure that that rotation, I feel comfortable that it's come down. I want to mention here, I'm getting pictures on my Twitter page here. If you get an opportunity, find me on Twitter. It's Mark Weinberg, Mark with a C, Mark Weinberg WX. Click follow when you get to my Twitter, and you can follow in on the feed. But I'm getting pictures now of vehicles underwater in Charlestown, Indiana.
Wow.
So the flooding potential is very, very real. Flash flood warning remains in effect from Du Bois, Orange, Crawford, Northern Harrison, Southern Washington, Clark, Floyd, Oldham, Henry, and Trimble County. We also have a flash flood warning now in effect for Breckenridge and the northern part of Grayson County. I want you to use caution in those areas. We have a number of reports of flooding that's occurring, and I've got pictures again on my Facebook page of vehicles that are submerged. So we're going to take a look here. Normalized rotation on Storm View 3D continues to show nothing that I would say looks that intense. Core of that storm now is coming out of our viewing area. Since that storm is leaving our viewing area, I really want to then quickly just brief you one more time on what's going on in the metro area. Mainly, to me, in Louisville, I think we're generally speaking about strong winds that are the main problem. I think for a good chunk of Louisville, I don't think we're talking about severe winds. I think we're generally talking about wind gusts to maybe 40 or 50 miles an hour. As we go towards Bullitt County, crossing over Hillview right now, the Brooks exit through Shepherdsville, and then ultimately you'll get to Lebanon Junction in around 6 minutes. Wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. That will then travel along 44 into Mount Washington, potentially producing wind gusts to 60 miles per hour. For the core of Louisville, we feel like right now, most of this doesn't look severe. Looks like maybe 40, 45 mile an hour wind gusts. We feel like the tornado warned part of the storm is exiting the county. Since it's leaving our viewing area, we're not going to hold you hostage. If you're here to watch Judge Judy, that's exactly what we want you to be able to watch. Keep it right here on WDRB. We're going to continue to update you. We'll have updates on Facebook, on Twitter throughout the evening. And if we need to break back into programming, if we feel like there's a threat to life and property, we will.
Appears to be an extreme case of cyberbullying.
A thank you letter sent to the sheriff from an inmate. The new program here at the Clark County Jail that sparked that response.
Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm David Scott.
And I'm Lindsay Allen. It has been a stormy day. Severe weather hitting much of our area.
And Chief Meteorologist Mark Weinberg tells us there's more to come. Mark?
You know, it has been a rough week here. We have seen multiple times now in the last week where we've seen insane rainfall totals here. Goshen reported around 4 inches of rain just since 7 a.m. We've got a number of areas that have flooding issues right now. And I think this going forward is going to continue to be a real problem. This picture here tweeted to me by Blake Worm, and he said, basically he's in Charlestown, and you could see there his neighborhood. He said, I can't get home. And this is something that we are seeing a lot in our area. People are just simply saying, I can't get home. Here's one out of Palmyra, Indiana, from Sneaky Wildcat 28, and you could see the vehicles are submerged. I got some pictures tweeted to me where vehicles were submerged all the way up to the rooftops in Charlestown. So this is a dangerous flash flood scenario. Jasper see nearly 3.7. In the southern part of Washington and northern Harrison County, nearly 5 inches. 4 inches in Goshen, Louisville on the northern side about 2 inches. So we have flash flood warnings from Du Bois, Orange, Crawford, the northern part of Harrison, southern Washington, for Clark, Floyd, Jefferson County, including Louisville, Oldham, Henry County, and also Breckenridge and Grayson County. Now, the second part to this whole thing is the severe weather. We've got a severe weather risk, and we've got tornado warnings, fortunately now, that are off to our east. But that tornado warning, I will say, that one to the east of our area is one that's really concerning because there's significant rotation on that storm. Fortunately, again, I'll mention it's not in our viewing area, but it is near Hall, Kentucky. Severe thunderstorm warnings for Jefferson County, Nelson, LaRue, Marion, and Washington County. And let me show you what it looks like on radar right now. As we look outside in Louisville, we've got a cloudy sky. This has dropped our temperature quite a bit to 62, east wind at 15 miles an hour. Let me show you what we've got on Storm View HD right now in Louisville. I think the warning actually probably should be dropped. It will be in 2 minutes, but the severe threat is over in Louisville. We're just looking at heavy rain right now. We've got heavy rain as we go towards Simpsonville, towards Shelbyville along 64 in the Waddy-Peytona area. Difficult drive. Cox's Creek and Bardstown, you've got extremely heavy rain. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning. It'll be in Springfield, Kentucky in 18 minutes. It'll be in Terrapin in 36 minutes. This is a large severe thunderstorm warning. This is for LaRue, Marion, Nelson, and Washington County until 6:20. This is going to be in Springfield in 22 minutes, Lebanon 24 minutes, Mackville 35 minutes, and the dangerous thunderstorm with the severe thunder or the tornado warning, you can see that about 30 miles south of Lexington. That one has significant rotation on it. Getting ahead of the line like that is normally not something that we like to see. Now, for Louisville, what you'll notice is, bottom line is the rain is going to be done in the next few hours. That's a positive. But I want to tell you, please use caution trying to get home tonight. We've got a ton of flooding being reported, and it is, again, a life-threatening situation with that flooding. We'll watch the warnings. We'll give you updates in about 10 minutes.
And Mark, we will check back with you soon. Thank you.